So I'm kind of different because I like the adrenaline rush of waiting until the last minute to do my Christmas shopping. But I'm almost done because I got everyone I care about Cozy Earth sheets and PJs and casual wear. Why? Because I live in Cozy Earth all day and I know how relaxed it makes me feel. And it's kind of fun using my own code CALM at cozyearth.com to get extra savings on their Black Friday specials right now. I'm even getting gifts for Casey's friends because I want them to be cool like me. So last year, I bought myself Cozy Earth pullovers, joggers, and 3/4 zip shirts because I knew that's what I wanted. And that was even before they were a sponsor. Black Friday has come early at Cozy Earth. So use my code CALM to get 40% off in savings on top of their site-wide sale at cozyearth.com. Start your holiday shopping today at cozyearth.com and use code CALM for up to 40% off great deals. And let Cozy Earth know the Calm Parenting Podcast guy sent you. So, we've talked on the podcast about building your child's confidence by showing off their natural talents for tinkering and building things. So, I've got a great Thanksgiving idea. Take a KiwiCo project that your kids can put together with relatives. It will let your kids shine and feel successful. Because unlike passive toys, KiwiCo crates put the fun directly into your kids' hands, turning curiosity into something they can build, create, and be proud of. Plus, KiwiCo projects get your kids off screens and spark wonder. Look, the best gifts aren't the ones kids open, they're the ones kids make. Give kids the joy of making their own fun and the memories that come with it. KiwiCo projects are a fantastic gift from grandparents. So tinker, create, and celebrate this holiday with KiwiCo. Get up to 50% off your first crate at kiwico.com, promo code CALM. That's up to 50% off your first crate at kiwico.com, promo code CALM. So how do you build a growth mindset and confidence in kids of all ages? That is what we're going to discuss on today's episode of the Calm Parenting Podcast. So welcome, this is Kirk Martin, founder of Celebrate Calm, and you can find us in our Black Friday sale at celebratecalm.com. So I'm dedicating this to 14-year-old Jess, who wrote in. She listens to the podcast because she's neurodivergent, and she said it really helps me understand myself. And she said, I got this school assignment to write about a growth mindset. And listen to how she phrased this. But what I think they're doing is it's a manipulative way to try to get me to work harder on academics, but I don't really care about academics right now. What is your take? And so I told her I'll record a podcast. So I'm doing that. So forgive me, this is not scripted out. I have 10 different points I have jotted down, and I'll try to make this all make sense. So, number one, how many of you have kids like this who blame others, who make excuses, who won't take responsibility for their actions? These are kids who are often they struggle with losing. So you can't play a board game with them because they'll change the rules of the game, cheat, or quit. And it's not a character issue. It is they do not have confidence inside. These are the same kids. We had about 1,500 of these kids that came to our house over the course of a decade. And we called many of these kids 7-uppers. Because you know how you 1-up someone? Well, these kids go like 7 up. So when other kids were like, well, I have 50 Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they'd be like, I have 3,000. And what that stems from is a lack of confidence inside. And so think about this. This is what we tell almost all of our kids for their entire childhood. Your childhood success is based on your performance in 2 areas: good grades and good behavior. And your strong-willed child is often 0 for 2 in those areas. Our son was not great at behavior, but he was very, very responsible, and he didn't always care about school and grades. So with most other kids, what happens is they're just the compliant neurotypical kids tend to be very good at school, and they tend to be a little bit more compliant. And so parents, teachers, grandparents, everybody likes them. And they're like, oh, you're so smart. You do extra homework. You're taking honors classes. You get good grades. You're so well behaved. Well, what happens is, see, they have a reservoir inside that is filled with successes in school, in behavior. So when they encounter a challenge or something difficult, they have something to draw upon. But many of us have kids who just aren't interested in those things. So when they encounter something difficult, there's nothing for them to draw upon. I hope that makes sense. So, number two, realize the limits of school and homework and just going after a child's intellect. It is, parents get so hyper focused on this, and I want to challenge you. Think about your own life. Think about the life of many of your friends or people you look up to. How much of their life success, and we're talking about success in their job, which is not just money, but it's actually enjoy their job, using their gifts, talents, and passions. How much are they making an impact on society? How are their relationships with themselves, with their spouse, with their kids? Because you will find a lot of times that very bright people often have a lot of knowledge, but they don't put it together into life and relational success. And you could go your entire life. Look, I've gone my entire life. I don't really need to know geometry, algebra 2. Kind of nice to know some basic algebra for figuring out, like, okay, what's the better deal at the grocery store so I can figure out price per ounce. That's kind of helpful. But I don't need to know trigonometry, science, geology, geography, multiplying fractions. I don't have to know any of that to put together a really good life. Now, obviously, we want kids to learn practical math so that they can budget and save money and don't get ripped off. But making money is often more about being opportunistic and using your gifts and passions to meet unmet needs. It's about building impulse control and delayed gratification. But see, we don't give grades for all those things. And I definitely, with Casey, we wanted to make sure, hey, written and verbal communication, we are social beings, and you will need to do that well. So reading and writing effectively, I would put a lot of time and effort into that. Look, if your kids are going to be a rocket scientist or a physicist, an engineer, a doctor, they're probably going to have a natural aptitude for math and science. But many of your kids are not going down that path. So just think really quickly. Here are the traits that I have found in my own life and many of my friends that have made us successful in every different area. Opportunistic, take risks, persistence, patience, making decisions. We miss this. Look, we're asking kids like 8 hours a day with school and homework to fill out worksheets and just answer questions right or wrong. But you don't really learn much that way. You learn by making decisions. When you make a decision, you have to prioritize. You have to use critical thinking skills. It takes some courage to take a stand and say, oh, this is what I think. And you have to have a willingness to fail and then learn and then adjust. And you have to solve problems, build consensus, lead, and then obviously communicate and listen well, empathize and connect with people. All of those things I just mentioned are not really valued in our academic world, and kids don't get grades for those things. So it's no wonder that many of our kids just shut down. So here's what I do encourage you to focus on. Give your kids opportunities to succeed in non-academic areas, because we put so much focus, it's all on school and academics. Give them opportunities in as many different areas as you can. And I'll give you some examples. I'm going to go through, these are from clients we have had, things that they've done from preschool on up to high school. So we're working with this family, 5-year-old. And their parents were worried. Why? Because, well, we're getting notes from the preschool that our daughter doesn't focus or follow directions well. And I'm like, well, that's kind of normal for a 5-year-old. But from an early age, she was fascinated by plants. So the teacher was saying, hey, she's supposed to be doing her worksheets and some of her work. Instead, she's got a little group of 5 kids around her, showing them how to care for the plants that we keep in the classroom, showing how to water them and then prune them by pinching off the tips of soft stems. And because at home, mom and dad have basil and some marigolds and some other flowers. And I'm like, Wait, how is that not an awesome thing? Because in order to take care of plants, there's patience. You've got to be conscientious. She's learning about different types of plants, how they grow best. She's now teaching other kids. That's leadership. And you know what ended up happening? I said, no, fully embrace this. And so they did. And you know what the daughter wanted to do? She got the teacher to allow them to start an herb garden at school. Now, I know some of you are like, well, what does that have to do anything? That has everything to do. I would rather have a child be doing that than just cramming a lot of facts inside their brain or memorizing things. I don't want to diminish the academic part, but we place way too much emphasis on that. I can guarantee you this daughter, all of these different skills and attributes that she's using right now by following her gifts and passions will pay off one day. She will probably own a big nursery and maybe a series of them because she's passionate about that. And so don't overlook that. Have this one family, their child is into rock climbing. A lot of kids aren't into team sports, but individual sports. Loves rock climbing. So he talked to the people at the rock climbing gym and began sketching out a way to create a wall in their backyard that he could climb. Started going to Home Depot, looking up the materials for it, and said, hey, I'll pay for part of this because I bet you I can teach younger kids how to do rock climbing and I can charge their parents for it. Now, just think, when you're rock climbing, think of and this is a kid who was told he doesn't focus in school, not on academics. But when you're climbing, doing rock climbing, that's an intense amount of focus and strategy. Where do I put my feet? Where's that next hold coming through? There's risk taking. It's weighing risks and decisions. That is far more valuable. Look, if you ask me like, well, would you rather him be inside just doing extra homework, filling out worksheets, or would you rather him being out focused intently on his rock climbing? I'd be the rock climbing. Look at all those skills are directly applicable to stuff in the real world. Now, here's one of my favorite stories. And I may have told this one a long time ago, but it was a kid, and in science class, they were learning about childhood illnesses, and they became aware of the Ronald McDonald House, where families can stay while their kids are undergoing treatment. And you know what this kid did? In his class, he persuaded the other kids in class to sell something that they really valued so that he could raise money for the Ronald McDonald House. And he sold some things that were very special to him so that he could raise money. Well, just think about that can-do attitude, the empathy, the compassion, the persuasiveness to do that, and then to organize all of that and begin going to the Ronald McDonald House to serve other people. See, I'll hire that kid in a heartbeat because he had a vision, he carried it out. Do you see what I'm saying here? See, when you start building confidence and rewarding kids for that, now it's like, okay, maybe I don't get all A's in my classes, but man, I built my own rock climbing wall. I'm already teaching kids at age 5 and taking care of plants around the house and starting an herb garden. And now I just raised $400 or $500 for a charity. I would rather I hope that makes sense. See, you start building that. Now when kids have that reservoir inside that is filled with competence and confidence, now when they encounter different difficulties, see, they can overcome that. And one of the kind of conceits or limitations of our current age is we only want kids to do that. Well, you need to just push through. Our child doesn't push through in school. How are they ever going to make it in life? Well, that's not the only place you can push through. These kids are showing you can push through in different areas. I still have 7 more tips, so let's keep going with this. So it's 9 p.m. and your child casually says, oh, I need my uniform for tomorrow's game. Sound familiar? Skylight keeps every practice, game, chore, and school activity in one place, so you eliminate those last-minute surprises that upset your kids. Skylight Calendar syncs seamlessly with all your calendars and visually displays your family's schedule on an HD touchscreen. Skylight is like having an assistant coach, the good one who always remembers the snacks and is on top of everything. Import a month of your kid's sports schedule in a snap. Skylight's free mobile app updates instantly, keeping the whole family in the loop. If in 4 months you are not 100% thrilled with your purchase, you can return it for a full refund. No questions asked. Right now, Skylight is offering our listeners $30 off their 15-inch calendars by going to myskylight.com/parenting. That's myskylight.com/parenting. So go to myskylight.com/parenting. So this really great mom emailed, I have 2 picky eaters at home. One is 8 and the other is 38. LOL. What I love about Hungryroot is that I can order meals tailored to our needs without going down 14 different aisles in the grocery store. And Hungryroot now knows our preferences, so they recommend meals I wouldn't have even thought of. My picky son now prepares red sauce tortellini with Italian sausage by himself 3 times per week, because you know how our kids do that. Now everyone is happy with their meals. We're not eating out as much. We're not stressed at mealtime anymore. And my son loves opening the Hungryroot box after school. We love Hungryroot. So take advantage of our exclusive offer. Go to hungryroot.com/calm and use code CALM to get 40% off your first box. Plus, get a free item in every box for life. That's hungryroot.com/calm, code CALM to get 40% off your first box. hungryroot.com/calm, code CALM. So here's an example of an older kid doing this, and I'll shorten this one. So kids totally into camping wanted to do a 3-day long weekend expedition with his dad. And he said, Dad, you don't have to do anything. I'll put everything together. Now, look, this is a kid who is disorganized in school, room is a mess, and you would think, how's he ever going to be successful in life? But pulls together all the camping gear, does the planning, knows where the water sources are for them, prepares the food for 3 days, maps it out, gets the right clothes ready because he looked at the weather forecast, has all the safety items put together, knows how to hang bear bags, all of that done, but won't do some certain things in school because he's not motivated right now. But look at all of the thinking that goes into that. And one more that I have to fit in here is, like, just take child A after school does some homework. And I'm not minimizing it, but sometimes homework for some kids is really easy. It's comfortable. Let me fill out sheets. And then everybody says, oh, you're so smart. That's so good. And they go in the next day and the teacher's like, you did such a great job on your homework. And then there's child B who didn't necessarily do their homework, but built something really cool at home out of Legos or blocks or whatever. And they got a vision in their head and used their imagination to think of something to build. And then they started building, and you have to make choices about how you build it. What's the scale of it? Well, now it's kind of top heavy, so now I have to learn from that and take some pieces off. There's so much decision making that goes into that, but that kid goes into school the next day and doesn't get a grade for that, doesn't get rewarded for that, and just is told, well, you didn't do your homework. And meanwhile, that child probably did a lot more thinking than the child who just did the homework. I'm not saying don't do the homework. I'm saying put more of an emphasis on these things. Okay, number 4, favorite phrase. Hey, I believe you're capable. Yeah, that assignment's really hard, but I believe you're capable of using that creativity and your imagination to do a really awesome job on that essay. Remember number 5, step back so kids can step up. I don't have time for this now, but remember when we step back, it gives our kids an opportunity to step up and be responsible for themselves. We just like giving kids ownership to do it differently. Hey, here's what needs to be done. I relinquish control over how you get it done. So if you want to do it in some weird creative way, go for it. Number 6, encourage failure. So at the dinner table, in the course of everyday life, don't always ask, what did you excel in today? Instead, I'd say, hey, what did you try today that was difficult and that you failed doing? and normalize it for them. Oh man, I had this proposal at work. I thought it was a really good idea. Submitted to the management team. And man, they shot it down. And what I learned from that is I hadn't asked enough people for their opinion. And so I left out some important parts. So now I'm going to go back with a new proposal and do that. See, you're normalizing failure and you're actually rewarding them for trying things like that. And that's why I want you to praise for their effort, not just, oh, you did a great job. It's like, man, I love your persistence because that thing you were building fell down and yet you kept going and you figured it out and you problem solved. Man, I love that. Number 7, this is very personal. Look, I'm an older guy. When we moved out here and started hiking, I have a fear of heights and I'm not really good in the snow. And so for the first couple of years, Casey kind of led and guided a lot of these big hikes that we've done. This past year, I started doing a lot of these on my own. Remember, I like mentioning nobody likes to be watched while they're struggling. Well, when I was by myself, I could struggle and figure out how to go move in the snow and how to handle some of these places where there's exposure and I could fall off. And we just kind of finished up our hiking here because it's getting very snowy. And Casey looked at me and he said, Dad, you realize like last year you would have never done this, or you would have been waiting for me to lead you. See, even at an older age, that growth mindset comes from trying new things and sometimes trying them by themselves. And it's really cool. And I can tell you as an old guy, it feels really good. Like I grew in confidence this last year. And I don't need Casey around me all the time telling me what to do. Number 8, ask your kids to help you do something. 2 quick ones. Working with a family and they have a small business. And they said, well, and I always ask, my goal, like when I'm talking to people, it's like, hey, tell me everything your child struggles with. I already know what your kids struggle with. What I want to know is, what are they really good at doing? And they said, well, our son's really good with spreadsheets. And I was like, why don't you let your son organize your family's business records on Excel spreadsheets? And they did. And now he does a really good job with it. Well, that's applicable to the real world. And then I've got several families I've heard from whose kids help them with social media and doing Instagram videos to promote their local business. See, that's an awesome thing. That builds confidence. Number 9, I mentioned this in a recent podcast. One is accept your kids as they are and realize they're not going to do it your way. They don't need to pursue your path. They need to pursue their path. And that's why I like creating their own report card. So instead of the report card being all about academics, it's no, here are the skills necessary for success in life. And I guarantee you, if you will make that list, you will find academics are important. Look, you have to have a base level of intellect and knowledge and proficiency. But what's more important are the intangibles that come with the taking risks and problem solving and making decisions and leading. I can tell you, watching Casey in his other job that he has, he's gotten promoted several times. And it's not because of his intellect or his academics. It's because of all those intangibles of when they tell Casey, hey, here's what we need done. He's like, I've got it. You don't have to worry. I will be here. He's a good leader. He takes care of the people that work for him really well. They want to work for him because he's a good leader. He's a good problem solver. When things come up and get messed up and he works in this really fast moving environment, he knows how to handle it. He doesn't fold under pressure. That's another big one. That's a growth mindset thing of like, things aren't going well. Rather than panic, rather than blame it on other people, Casey is very good under pressure, partly why I like hiking with him, hard hikes, because he doesn't get flustered. And so think about those things and start putting that on a life skills report card of like, look, I know what's necessary for success in the adult world. Oh, you have those traits. You just struggle a little bit with some of the kid things. And number 10, I'm just going to end with this one because it's a beautiful story. It is that a mom just wrote to me about. And he said, Dad has struggled with our son because Dad sounds like me. This dad was like super into athletics, as a kid, and their son wasn't, and he was very, very academic, has advanced degrees, and his son isn't into school. And so there's always been this subtle thing underneath of like, I'm not really proud of you. You still need to do more. You can never please me. And so mom said, I finally got I got my husband. My husband listened to your quick tips for dads episode, and he agreed. We got your downloadable program with the Black Friday sale, and he started listening, and he's begun to change. And last night before bed, I was putting my son to bed, and he said, Mom, it feels really good to know that Dad likes me now. And she was like, oh, and I can feel that too as a dad, because I kind of did that to Casey when he was little. But the son also said this. It said, it feels like Dad believes in me now, and he's starting to notice the things that I'm good at, not just the things he wants me to be good at. Now that will change your home. That will what's the word? Cultivate inside your child a growth mindset to know that my parents believe in me, that they see good things in me, and that they actually value. It's not just like, oh, we love you, you're so great. No, it's I see what's inside of you. Oh, I see it. Those are good qualities. Man, that's going to lead you to be successful in life. And when you can say that confidently about your child, even though in the back of your head you're like, but please, why can't they do their schoolwork and clean up after themselves? So here's your homework. I want you to really wrestle with these ideas. And if you need to, apologize. Just matter of factly, hey, strong-willed child, I apologize. We have placed too much emphasis on just doing academic things, and we've overlooked all these other amazing traits you have. And so look for opportunities for your kids to use their natural gifts, talents, and passions, and then very much value what they're doing and point out, hey, you know what? That took a lot of creativity, problem solving. Hey, I saw that you had to make a decision, and making decisions is hard because you have to prioritize between things, but you're not afraid to do that, and you have courage to do that. And then when you messed up, you learn from it. Oh man, those qualities will make you wildly successful in life. So do that. Reconnect with your kids like the dad at the end of the story. I encourage you, take advantage of the Black Friday sale. Go through our programs. We teach you how to control yourself, your own anxiety, and how to build this confidence in your kids. Let your kids listen to the programs. If you need help with this financially or any other way, reach out to Casey, Casey, at celebratecalm.com, and he will help you out. And Jess, good luck with this essay. I hope this helped you out. Okay, love you all. Bye-bye.